What is going on, Lake Pro Tackle fam? Back here in the shop, we've got some very exciting news, some items here that have come all the way from Japan, handmade in Japan. Very cool stuff. Now, if you haven't heard of Studio Composite, let me tell you a little bit more about them. They specialize in their carbon technology, more specifically their handles, their baits, and their rods. Now, these are all very meticulously handcrafted. What's really cool, and I'll talk about these handles real quick. These are really neat. You can find out more information on the website, but these right here are pure, basically carbon, that monocoque. If you're familiar with something like X Pride or Poison Adrena, Poison Ultima, the Zodius perhaps, the monocoque handles allow everything to be extremely lightweight. Now, one other cool thing about these handles is not only are they used for, swimbait reels, these are really oversized handles compared to something like a normal handle right here. This is the Steez handle compared for comparison, right? So these are much bigger. So if you're throwing swim baits, something like swimbait reels like a Calcutta, a Tatula 300, or some of my favorites, of course, and Terry's DCMD is one of those cool ones that you can pick up as well from over in Japan. All these big swimbait reels, each one has their specific purpose, intended use, and these handles right here will just help you get a better grip, as well as help you just overall to minimize the fatigue as you're fishing. Now, we've got 5 different sizes here, and we've got, I believe it's 4 or 5 different colors in these. So if you want to zoom in a little closer here, Bennett, or come close, I'll kind of show them. So starting with the 88 millimeter, this is a little bit smaller handle here, and this is also in red. Now, the handles themselves are going to be all the same basically when it comes to a side profile, but when you look at it dead on, that's where the color change is going to happen. So this one's red. We've got gunmetal. Gunmetal and black are very similar. The only difference is in some of the lighting. So this is gunmetal here in a 96 millimeter, or sorry, 92 millimeter. So we've got 88, 92, we've got 96 over here, and here's another red 96 compared to an 88. So you can see there is going to be a sizable difference between the 88 and the 92. Once we get to the bigger sizes, the bigger 3 sizes, you've got a little bit more bulk at the top. And what's really neat about these two is they use a little bit thicker plate to help distribute some of the torque, as well as the shaft going into the handle. This uses a very precise measurement on it, as well as just keeping that torque off of the whole handle. They also crisscross this carbon here, so it's ultra strong, ultra durable, and look at that, y'all. I mean, it's just going to keep going. It's got a ton of bearings in these, ultra smooth for fishing all day long, super comfortable. So moving up to the 102, this is kind of where we have a little bit more variety, and I realize a lot of y'all want like 100 to 110 size. That's kind of my preference. Of course, 120 is also very popular, but this one here is silver. So we've got silver in the 102. We've also got black. And most of these colors you can see on the website are very interchangeable. And they both also come in Shimano sizing and Daiwa sizing. So each one does also come with its own bag of goodies here. So, the nuts for left and right hand. It also has spacers and stuff like that. So everything you need to change your handles out is included in these. Now, the last color, I think, is gold, and there's not many gold. So this one, if you're running a Calcutta, I got this one in a Shimano 108 millimeter. This one is really sick, and I imagine these are going to fly out of here the fastest. But like I said, y'all, Shimano and Daiwas, I kind of split them up pretty evenly. The only one I would say that has the gold, and you can check it out on the website for sure, the bigger sizes, and then I got some of those more unique ones and stayed kind of just normal colors, black and gunmetal. Those are going to be probably the most popular to pair up with just about anything. And honestly, again, I'll do a comparison on black and gunmetal here. Very similar. So check these out. Very similar. I mean, you can barely tell the difference, I'm sure, on camera, but there is a little bit of a difference. So just want to let y'all know about that. Now, Studio Composite, and hopefully we're going to be getting some baits in later in the summer, if not into the fall. But we do have a couple of their rods that were ready, and each of these are basically made to order from Studio Composite. Starting it off, the Paradox series of rods. Again, these are using a lot of carbon in them, and these rods are extremely, extremely light. And a lot of you have commented when I say things like extremely light or it feels really good. It's very sensitive. I need to give you a benchmark. So in terms of extremely light, this right here is a 6'9". This is the Paradox Parker rod. It's a heavy rod, and this is what they say is a versatile blank. So when it comes to swim baits, you can throw jigs, you can throw just about anything on this rod. It's kind of that standard heavy action with a versatile moderate taper to it. And all these rods are also two-piece, which is great for traveling. It is going to be ferruled right above the handle here in the thickest part of the blank, almost the thickest, technically, basically the thickest part of the blank there. These are, I'm talking lighter than X Prides in the hand. And what's really cool about this one specifically, and we only got 1s and 2s of each of these rods because we want to try them out. We want to make sure we could sell through them. And I think a lot of you will be excited about these too. This one is very, very cool. So the Paradox Parker uses this carbon monocoque grip. And this isn't just your normal monocoque grip. This is very, very tacky. It's not like sticky tacky where you stick your finger on it and there's residue. But there is a ton of grip on this handle here. There's a ton of grip on the seat for the lockdown. And there's also that grip section on the very back. So in terms of heavy power, this one I believe is rated up to 2 ounces, 25-pound monofilament or fluorocarbon. And, when it comes to flipping and pitching heavier plastics, free rig, stuff like that, this is going to be a great rod that you should have a ton of success and fun with. So Paradox Parker, 6'9", heavy, probably one of my favorites. I expect this one to go very, very quickly. I'm talking, again, very light. The handle itself, you've got almost full blank contact at the bottom there, and your reel seat is going to hover right above that, or your reel is going to hover right above that blank right there. So we've got 3 models in the next series here. This is just the regular Paradox. So kicking it off, start with the longest one here. Again, these are also 2-piece, ferruled at the first guide. This is a little bit different. They use a little more of the acid wrap that you're more familiar with when throwing swim baits. And again, hopefully we get their swim baits in very, very soon. They've got a rat wake bait. They've got a bunch of shad profile gliding style baits. But these use an acid wrap, very, very tacky, very great grip on it as well. And they use a little bit of cork at the back end here. Now, this is a 7'6" rod, 2-piece again. And what's really neat about this one is it's going to be a 2-power. So when it comes to throwing something like a mag draft, line through swim bait, a 2-power is still pretty heavy. You've got a good soft-ish tip section, not super, super soft, but enough to have a treble hook get into a fish and keep them pinned. Moving into a good solid backbone, which is pretty standard for most heavier style baits. So really, really neat stuff. Again, very minimal on some of the guides here, where they are double-footed and really, really neat. So they don't put on a ton of extra wrapping on these. Really cool stuff. And I will give you another look at this full bend in this rod here. As you can see, very, very soft tip section for this one. 7'6", a little bit longer. All right, y'all. Next up, 7'3". This is a 5-power. This is a beefy rod. Still ultra, ultra light. I'm talking like compared to some US models of rods, this feels just featherweight to them. Now, being a essentially extra heavy rod, 7'3", if you aren't familiar with Japanese rod sizing, 6'9" is basically almost as long as a lot of people will go, just because of travel situations as well as keeping things nice and compact. A lot of people do bank fishing, so you can't have a really long rod swinging around. But the 7'3", 5-power is rated up to 4 ounces, 25-pound line is what they're saying for it. This, again, is the Paradox 73-05. Now, let's take a look at the section here. I mean, this thing is beefy. Again, up to 4 ounces. The 7'3" rod will be able to handle your clutch OGs. This will be able to handle like a bull shad glide. This will be able to handle really any 6 to 8 inch glide bait. Tiny Clash, it might be even a bit heavy. You could definitely throw something like a K9 on this, be very, very comfortable. Anything in that 2 to 3 ounce range is going to be perfect for this rod right here. So I know a lot of you have been told to throw bigger and bigger rods. Of course, 8-foot rods aren't uncommon here in the United States, especially when throwing swim baits, but I want to push you to try out some of these shorter style rods. Now, moving into the 7-foot right here. This is a 7-foot 1.5. So this is a 1.5 power, so a little bit lighter than the 70 or 7602. This one here is going to be kind of a versatile rod. So this one is rated up to 1 ounce. This is going to be great for your Texas rigs, your jigs, just about anything really. You could even throw some bigger chatterbait spinnerbaits on it because it does have a much softer tip section here. Again, you're going to have a decent amount of bend and moving into a very stiff backbone. 2-piece as well, ferruled along the right above the first guide. So really, really neat stuff. I'll do a bend test up there, and it's still going to be a fast action rod. So really, really cool. Uses the acid wrap, or whatever you want to call this grip here. I'm just going to keep calling it an acid wrap. But they also have that carbon monocoque on the reel seat, and I'm telling y'all, sensitivity is absolutely insane on these. Let me give you a look with the stees here, kind of what the whole combo is going to look like. Really, really neat stuff, and I highly encourage y'all to check it all out on the website. But is that not beautiful right there? Check that all out. Paradox rods are in stock right now. Handles from Studio Composite are also available as well, and we hopefully will be getting a shipment of baits very, very soon. If you need some help picking out the right sizing for your reels, make sure to leave us a comment. Again, these are meticulously handcrafted over in Japan. These are really, really neat. Just being full carbon, uses a little bit thicker handle piece here just to ensure that there's no breakages, and also just increased durability overall. And I'm talking, y'all, I mean, smooth is so hard to convey on camera, but look at that. I mean, super, super smooth. I'm going to probably stick one on a reel around here, have it at the shop so you can check them out. But again, 5 different sizes, 88, 92, 96, 102, and 108. Very, very neat stuff from Studio Composite. And if y'all are watching this Studio Composite, thank you very much. We are very blessed to have these in the shop here and can't wait to do more business with you in the future. So guys, if you aren't following social media, make sure to go follow it at Lake Pro Tackle, and we will see you next time. See you guys.